Look at these statements. Do any of them feel true to you? Do you identify with them if you're a woman? Do you know other women like this? No matter who you are, you might have heard these statements before, but we're truly living in the upside down. Because look at this. These are all the things that have been invented by women, and that's just the ones that we know. Every single modern convenience. Never mind all of the art, all of the stuff that was stolen or co-opted by a man, a husband, a father, a brother. But let's go back to the basics. Now, we're made mostly of water, and the pull of the sun and the moon determine our rhythms. You've heard of the circadian rhythm. Now, all living things feel the sun, but it's only marine life and menstruating mammals that feel the pull of the moon. Now, if this is starting to sound fluffy to you because of a lack of scientific evidence, please consider who was writing all of medical history. But menstruation is such an interesting phenomenon. You know that we bleed in sync with each other and with the moon. But it's actually a trans-customary event, and that means that it spans all of time for our species regardless of historical events. Now, originally, the reason that we may have evolved to do that is so that women could give birth at the same time, so children grow up at the same time. Also, it's very convenient for pregnant women to be with each other, like to be pregnant together. That's an amazing thing. I just want to remind everyone that the calendar we follow now was introduced so relatively recently, and even our earliest evidence of the solar calendar was just 3,000 years ago. 3,000 BC. But Homo sapiens, we've been around for 260,000 years, man. Now, these are now considered the earliest evidence of calendars, but right up for the longest time after they were found, everybody was like, oh, what is this? Is it a kill log? Is it some kind of complicated mathematical game? And then a woman pointed out that it corresponds with the lunar cycle. It's probably a woman tracking her period. But periods are gross, right? Disgusting, embarrassing. Only in the patriarchy, baby. In every surviving indigenous culture, bleeding is considered sacred, a time when women enter the realm of dreams and visions and communicate directly with the spirits. So what has devolved into segregation based on shame actually started as women keeping the men outside because they just wanted to be alone so they could focus, meditate. They didn't want to cook or clean or do any kind of work during this time. Now let's take a look at the cycle properly. Please notice how none of the attributes mentioned in this chart have anything to do with fertility, except for the little subheadings. What I mean to say is that women, you are on your period all the time. You just happen to bleed for a few days of it. And the sooner you start to think of it this way, the better for you. In ancient cultures, and indeed in all surviving matriarchal cultures, women determine the flow of work in the village, and it's always stress-free and kind of relaxed around the cycles of nature. Anyway, let's go back to phase 1. When all the women were inside bleeding, what were the men doing? Yes, they were outside and they were fighting. And they were fighting because they couldn't bleed, and it was considered healthy and divine and amazing to bleed. They couldn't do it naturally, and that's how fighting even started in the first place. Of course, it's evolved to something much uglier now, completely out of control. Forget about penis envy. It's always been period envy. The linear march of progress and the decimation and corruption caused by colonization and Christianity has subverted the circular harmony that was fostered by our ancestors, by our mothers and grandmothers. Look at this. Pause. Pause and read it if you dare. If you don't already know these women's faces or some of these facts, I don't know if I feel sorry for you or if I envy you, because these stories haunt me every day. And still we rise. Whether it's in sports or politics or friendship or excelling as mothers and bleeders, women display fantastic protective instincts and redemption arcs. The trans-customary nature makes us feel each other's pain, and support comes a millionfold every single time. And what about men? Not in the relation to women, but in relation to each other. What is termed as strength is actually subjugation. What is called belonging often entails deep, deep humiliation and blackmail. And a lot of suffering and suppression has to go into making men do their job. Yeah, men are the primary victims of the patriarchy. They made women the enemy and then the joke, and they only wish to separate you from love and harmony and the freedom to like all colors and butterflies and flowers. Do you know that 60% of gun deaths in the US are men turning the gun on themselves? And for what? We are all made up of both masculine and feminine essences. Oh my god, like the right side is male, the left side is female, even in the body. The front and the back are two different yin and yang. Mountains, valleys, music, silence, stars, planets, gravity. I encourage you, all of you, to start thinking of yourself as human and everything after and beyond that as a divisive tactic put in place by the people in power to separate and segregate us. Matriarchy isn't anti-men, it's anti-suppression. Do you get it? And here's the proof that I love men. Good men, we women love you. We want you so much in our lives, but we're tired of talking just to each other about this stuff. We need more of you to stand up and speak out for us. Thank you for watching.